In today's, we are going to be looking at something really fun, and that's how to make some simple grass. Pretty much just using an image texture that we find on the internet. And it kind of works really well because using an image of some grass, we kind of get these natural sorts of color gradient that kind of runs throughout the particles, adding to more of the realistic here. So this is really simple. It's all within Blender. It's just a simple particle system. Will be tweaking around with the settings. I'll show you some different effects like getting a more finer looking grass and then getting this sort result, which is a bit more of a rougher looking grass. But you can see it's just a ton of fun messing around this with here. So yeah, a fun little beginner tutorial. You'll be easily able to make some grass. So let's jump in and I hope you enjoy. So really one of the simplest ways you can get a nice sort of texture base for your grass is to simply just go to Google Images or whatever search engine you want and just type in grass and then get just sort of like a picture, kind of like a bird's eye view of some lawn. For example, something like this, or just take a screenshot of some grass from a video. It doesn't have to be very high resolution or anything. It's just to kind of give us a bit of color information really for our particles to kind of base their color on, right? So what we're going to do then is once you have an image, you're going to go ahead, just put it somewhere like on your desktop. For me, I just put one that I had on my desktop, and what we are going to do, it's really quite simple. Once you're inside of Blender, you can start by just maybe getting rid of the default cube. Just press delete when you select it, and then Blender has a really cool option. You can go Shift A and then you can just go here under empty. You'll see something here that says image, which is not something people use very often. But if you actually come in here, you can go here and get a mesh plan, and then you can go to whatever you have placed on image on your computer. In this case, I have this grass JPEG, and I'm going to go import image as a plan. And now you can see here it's so what I'm going to do, I'm going to go RY90 and I'm going to hit enter, and if you go Z and you go into material preview, you can actually see the grass here. We want to actually go into edit mode. We want to make sure that we go over here to our mesh overlays, and we just want to enable the normals, and at the moment this little blue line is pointing down. We want it to be pointing up, so we are just going to go Alt N and recalculate outside. And if that doesn't work, you can just go Alt N and just press flip, and now the normals are base facing up. So I'm just going to also, with all of these selected, I'm just going to go Control R, add a loop in the middle, select all of it, and I'm just going to right click and go subdivided. This is optional, that this way if we give it some subdivision right, we can actually now, and I'll just quickly turn off the normal overlays. We can come here without proportional editing, and we can kind of just edit this a little bit and make it a little bit more uneven, so grass plant doesn't look like perfectly flat. Okay, now that's just something you can do optionally, but now that you have a piece of grass, the really fun part here is to go to your particles, click here on plus, click on hairs, and then you want to come here to the hair left and just kind of drag it down like so, and I'm going to go something like this, and for now I'll go Z and just go into solid view anyway. So here we have some grass particles, and the first thing you want to do is go to your render enable left line, and then go to your viewport display, and under your viewport display set your strand steps to 3, and then simply go to your children and click on interpolated. Now for each one of these 100 number of here particles here, each of one of them is going to represent 10 particles on the display, and over here you can have 100 right in the render, so the render is getting to look a lot more dense than the current viewport display. But what we can do now is we can go over to our roughness, and we are going to come here, and let's start by giving it a random value here. Okay, now the grass is already starting to look a bit better. We also want to come here to the end point and increase that value, and that's going to make them go a little bit more side to side, and then come here to uniform and just drag that slightly like so. Okay, that's really cool. And then we can come here. First of all, let's just come to our render settings. Actually, I think this would be good. We are going to change it from EV to cycles, and then we are going to come here to our max samples under the render, and I think 45 should be fine, especially if you have the noising enabled. And then let's see, we have our camera here right now. This imported quite small, so I'm going to select it. I'm going to go S and just scale it up so it's a bit bigger, and you can see here this is what happens. So I'm just going to go Control A, and I'm going to apply that scale, and then I'll quickly simply go to my particles. In this case, I'll just increase that hair length a little bit, and if it comes down to it, you may just need to go down to your children and go under the roughness and just kind of tweak these settings a little bit more. Okay, but I wouldn't go too crazy with it. Just want a little bit of random variation we are then going to select this light over here, going to go to our light object data properties for the light. Let's make it an area light, and let's just take the size here and take it up. So I'm going to go 5 minutes, and I'm going to go Z and go render it, and there we have it. So nice lighting. So you know, bump this straight up to whatever you want, but I'm going to go to my camera view, and I'll just kind of position the camera just to kind of look on like this. There we go, something like this. And let's now go render and render the image, and there we have a render now. This looks a little bit almost too much like fur for me, or just looks like really fine grass kind of blowing in the wind. But it's really easy now at this point just to come back to your particles if you want to, so you can always mess around with the left. You can always come here, and under your roughness you can kind of just mess around with some of these settings if you want, but it's completely up to you at this point. Another thing you can try out is the hair shape. You work with the diameter, so you can bump the root diameter up so it looks a little bit thicker, and you can give the tip a value as well. And let's just quickly go ahead now and render that and try that out as well. And there you can see, just by making it a little bit thicker and make it a bit longer, we are making it look like a little bit of more harder together of grass. And that's just how fun it's, because there's not really any one type of grass out here. There's a lot of different varieties, so being able to tweak these different settings, you can really kind of make that sort of effect. You're going for look more like the variety you can aiming for. So you might go like for more finger grass like in the previous example, or more thicker grass, but you can also see just having that grass texture underneath really adds sort of natural color gradient throughout the grass, which I think really adds a bit of extra realism to this as well. So yeah, this is a fun way of making some quiet and easy grass in Blender. I really hope you have enjoyed it, and I'll see you next time.